Some viewers may find the following video disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
At the very same time that America refused to give the Negro any land, our government was giving away millions of acres of land in the West and the Midwest, which meant that it was willing to undergird its white peasants from Europe with an economic floor. But not only did they give the land, they built land-grant colleges with government money to teach them how to farm. Not only that, they provided county agents to further their expertise in farming. Not only that, they provided low interest rates in order that they could mechanize their farms. Not only that, today, many of these people are receiving millions of dollars in federal subsidies not to farm, and they are the very people telling the black man that he ought to lift himself by his own bootstraps. And this is what we are faced with, and this is the reality. Now, when we come to Washington, in this campaign, we are coming to get our check.
I remember when the ATL wasn't banging, now they banging, 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 banging. Niggas throwing sets and them bullets start ringing, bitches banging, 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 banging. I remember when the ATL wasn't banging, now they banging, 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 banging. Niggas throwing sets and them bullets start ringing like bang, 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 bitch, nigga, bang, 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 bang.
Yo, peace, peace, peace. What's going on? What's happening? Hey, I'm back again, man. I'm back again because after this news, it happened earlier today. But I just got the opportunity to mention it. I had to come back for this one. This right here, this is some like lame duck level shit right here. It's lame duck level. I'm Lord with Trump, but in this instance, it's really not Trump looking like the fool. It's the Republican legislature as a whole. If I was to say lame duck of the week right now, it would be a group duck. Like this would be the largest amalgamation of ducks in one city, because it's the entirety of the Republican Party legislatively, meaning House and Senate Republicans. They look like fools right now, straight fools. And we're gonna talk about this here in a second. They look like idiots. That's just what the fuck it is. You see the title. It says Trump stalls, keyword bipartisan housing bill. So this morning he had a stage all set up, a podium to do a public signing of the housing bill for the seat, so he could take full credit as president and on the Republican side, which he had every right to do. I mean, he's the president of the United States. You know, as the old saying goes, the buck stops here. You know, that can be in the positive or the negative. You know, a clear opportunity to flaunt from a Republican perspective, and he fucked it up. He fucked it up. Ricardo say, bruh, like what the fuck is going on? Again, just put yourself in the shoes of a Republican congressman, just only for a second. Here's an opportunity to bolster numbers, right? Here's an opportunity to bolster numbers in terms of effectiveness, right? You must understand what people voted for when it comes to 2024. A major aspect of that vote was affordability. A major aspect of it. Now, this bill, some people may say, was more symbolic than anything else. You know, that's a topic to be debated and discussed. You know, I won't take that from you. But it was a step in the right direction nonetheless. A bill that was co-authored. Now this you're talking about two sides of an extreme. A bill that was co-authored by who I would consider a lefty loony, you know, more palatable than most, Elizabeth Warren. And another senator, Tim Scott. Bipartisan, if bipartisan was ever a thing, it would be this. Like I said, two sides of an extreme. Elizabeth Warren, some people would consider extreme left. Tim Scott, I don't look at Tim Scott as extreme right. I just look at him as a step and fetch it type black conservative. You know, it is what the fuck it is. But two sides of the extreme nonetheless. This is as bipartisan as it gets. The bill was going to tackle limitations on the amount of properties corporate investors were going to be able to have at one time. Being a stopgap on affordability. Because if you look at the housing market, when a contractor builds a house, depending on who's the investor, whether it's a private owner or a corporate owner, that stacks the numbers in terms of demand, right? The demand does not look the same with private builders versus investors. A lot of times the numbers can be stacked based on the sheer amount, right? This was going to be able to quell that number, so to speak. Also giving access for community banks and credit unions access to provide more mortgages to more people. Overall, whether you believe it's symbolic or not, overall a step in the right direction to open newer paths for more home ownership. Again, bipartisan. Trump said, fuck that. I ain't signing shit until y'all pass the Save America Act. Fuck it. That's what he said. Showing the sheer desperation. You know what I'm saying? Of what the future may look like come November in the midterm. You're willing to take a loss in something that was going to have the optics as a win on the Republican side. I was going to take it as a win. I was going to say, hey, look, you know, the Republicans were able to have some sort of legislation at the end of the day with the Housing Act. I was fully prepared to say that. And Trump fucked it all up. Trump fucked it all up. Now, I put in there stall and not completely stop for a very specific reason. Now, this bill, again, bipartisan bill, was voted in the majority to such an extent where it has a supermajority in both the Senate and the House, making it essentially veto-proof. So Trump can veto it all he wants. The supermajority overrules the veto. Now that poses a very important question. Will House and Senate Republicans show enough balls to say, hey, look, man, we need to pass this. You know, we don't, you can throw your temper tantrum all you fucking want. We got a supermajority. It passed well over veto limitations. We just gonna pass this. You know, it is what it is. Do congressional Republicans have enough balls to at least do that? It's not gonna hurt nothing. Does Mike Johnson have the intestinal fortitude to just let Trump bitch and whine at this time and just go ahead and put it back on the floor to overrule the veto? I mean, it's really not even a veto. He's just stalling it. He's just refusing, like, not to sign it. It's not even a veto at this point. So I don't even know what the procedural vote would be on that, like how it would work. You know what I'm saying? He didn't veto it procedurally. He just refused to sign it. So I guess in the next coming days, maybe weeks, we'll find out. But you need to come up with something. You need to come up with something. Because it's childish at this point. And we know why he's doing it. We know why he's doing it. Your boy Trump is making you happy. No, he's not making me happy. Again. And shout out to the technician, Jeremy Dunbar. We know why Trump is doing this. Trump wants to put a backstop on what's to come November. The most important thing to him right now is the perception of stopping any sort of a Democratic surge when it comes to the midterm. And it's made up in his own head. It's not even real. You know what I'm saying? He believes the Save America Act will somehow keep a Republican majority in Congress, some way, somehow. That's why he's doing it. But it's going to be at the expense of constituencies under Republican districts. And a lot of Republican congressmen in the House knows that. That's why they will not vote on it. Because it's self-sabotage. It's self-sabotage. You're going to disenfranchise not only a lot of Democratic voters, but a hell of a lot of Republican voters. For nothing. For nothing. And a lot of these Republicans in these districts know what it's going to do. And once they vote on it and vote for it, it's off with their head. It's off with their head. Jeremy Dunbar talk about the Democrats. You know, and you know, I understand what you're saying, Jeremy, but essentially this isn't a Democratic or Republican issue. Like, this is a voter issue, despite what side of the aisle you're on politically. You're going to put stumbling blocks in the way of voters that support you, whether you're a Democrat or Republican, that don't need to be there. Y'all give me a second. My son calling me. Give me 1 second, y'all. Yeah, my bad. I'm back. Let me know y'all can hear me in the chat. Let me know y'all can hear me in the chat. Y'all know how it be sometimes when you get a call and it mess up your audio. Okay, all right. Thanks, Jeremy. So what I'm saying is, outright, you know, it's really not a partisan thing, right? Again, this was a bipartisan bill. This wasn't the Democrats' fault. It was co-authored by the two extremes of both parties. Like, you can't get no more extreme than Elizabeth Warren and Tim Scott. You can't do it. More or less, you know what I'm saying? And either way, despite if it was bipartisan or not, because it's a Republican majority, they have every right to take the credit for it. So this was going to be a good thing for the Republicans in terms of records of bills, which they have a bad record right now because they ain't got no bills besides the big, beautiful bill. That's all they got. Yeah, Pocahontas, Jeremy. That's literally all they got. So this was actually going to be a plus for the Republicans. And Trump, for now at least, flushed it down the drain. He's an idiot, is what I'm saying, telling y'all. Outright, he's an idiot. He's sabotaging his own party for power. You don't think Mike Johnson understand that? You should have saw Mike Johnson's face when he was trying to answer questions a few moments ago in a press conference. He did 2 press conferences today. 2 of them. The first press conference he did was this morning in anticipation of the signing of the bill. Literally during the middle of his press conference, Trump posted that he wasn't going to sign it. Literally in the middle of it. Mike Johnson was boasting, saying, yeah, man, we're making great strides and we're keeping the promises that were insinuated by Trump in the campaign. And one of those first acts is the affordability of housing. He was literally boasting while at the same time Trump posted that he wasn't going to sign it. Lame duck. That's a lame duck if I ever saw one. I already got a lame duck in mind for tomorrow. I might have to switch it, y'all. Because I mean, this is ample lame duck material right here. Ample. Then Mike Johnson came out and did another press conference where the press was at. He looked dumb as hell. He was up there looking stupid. Talking about, oh, I'm going to talk to Trump. We're going to sort this out. You shouldn't have to do that. Trump ain't got nothing to do with legislation, especially when you voted in a supermajority on the legislation that you're trying to get passed. Trump is null and void at that point. That's why it's called co-equal branches of government. I would argue the legislative branch has more power than the executive. That's my argument. So to hell with what Trump talking about. It's filibuster proof. Supermajority. It no longer matters what Trump think at that point. And yet you still letting him you're allowing him to dictate policy. That's asinine. Asinine. Especially when it's policies that gonna make you look good. Like y'all don't understand this? I mean, I'm trying to figure out. We live in a dystopian society, man. As it is right now, with all the shit that's going on, we live in a dystopian society. We going down the chute at breakneck speed. This shit is ridiculous. First, you got the lefty loonies taking control in New York. Now you got this. And what's ironic with all of this shit, the people that have become disgruntled with Trump and the lefty loonies, in a lot of ways, they in one accord. And that one accord boils down to one thing, and y'all know what that one thing is Israel. All other policy positions out the window. Out the window. You're right, Jeremy. It's like a horror movie, man. Positions that truly affect the American people, that shit don't matter no more. Not to a lefty loony, not to a America First MAGA maniac. It don't matter. Tucker Carlson done went off his rocket saying he ain't even with the Republican Party no more. Marjorie Taylor Greene. Left is right and up is down at this point. I don't know what else to tell you. I don't know what else to tell you. So the flashpoint moment, as it stands right now here in America politically, is something that, you know, from a, I don't want to say it ain't got nothing to do with America, but in a lot of ways it don't. If we just looking at it from a financial and maybe even an ideological sense, it may have everything to do with America. But for the sake of the argument, I'm gonna say the flashpoint in the social politics of America right now is talking about a place that's not in America. That's the flashpoint. That's the flashpoint. We're seeing our system of government on the constituency side crumble before our very eyes for another fucking country. For another country. Y'all know me. I always say, hey, look, man, hey, capitalism is a global synthesized product. Therefore, I'm a globalist. I always say that. People make globalists to be this bad thing, this and that. You don't understand economics. That's all that is. You know what I'm saying? People find and characterize globalism, but in the social political sense, Jeremy says, our government cares more about other countries' people rather than our own. The United States government support our. I agree and I disagree, Jeremy. So just like I said before, I agree with you wholeheartedly. The flashpoint right now in America, as it pertains to the populace of people, subject of an entirely different. I didn't say it on this channel. Somebody don't know. I'm probably gonna go because I'm in a bad spot. I'm not scared to say Israel because don't nobody watch this shit no way. So I say Israel. You're right. But when you start to peel the layers of the onion back, and let me know if I'm spotty or whatever, somebody in the chat. When you start peeling the layers of the onions back, it has everything to do with the apparatus of how our government, not even the government, how our financial operations work here in America. And we've had multiple discussions about this shit, right? When we're dictating the flow of the currency in which the vital resource is oil, we all can agree on that. One of the main arteries of that vital resource is in the Middle East. You have to have an all-seeing eye in said Middle East to keep tabs on things. That's what Israel is all about. That's what Israel is all about. Now, fortunately for the West, they can create a narrative to maintain validity to said restructuring and maintenance of said country. What's that? Religion. The relationship between the evangelicals and the Jewish community. The Holy Land is the only thing that ties that together. So from the political sense, you now have a talking point, a storyline, whatever the situation may be, in order to validate to the constituency, i.e. the United States citizen, there is an important reason why we must support said country. Mike Huckabee is over there doing that very thing right now. But now you're seeing the pardon my pun, walls of Jericho starting to fall. Maybe it's because a lot of people are now hip to what the play is. That could be a spiritual awakening. It could be uh, uh, a preconceived notion of what's really going on financially. It could be a myriad of reasons, but people are getting hip to it nonetheless. Nonetheless. Now, Americans are fighting an everlasting struggle between their own patriotism, whatever facet of patriotism that may be, and outright wrong versus right. When I look at it from a capitalist perspective, I have to ask myself an important question. Are we willing to sacrifice the diplomatic relationship with Israel, knowing our position when it comes to that vital resource? We haven't taken the steps to self-sustain ourselves economically with that resource. We haven't did it. Now, MAGA maniacs were promised that that was the path forward. How is that working out for you? You see, I can be a realist at the end of the day. We don't have the infrastructure to be self-sustainable when it comes to oil. We don't. We just don't have it. We just don't have it. If you believe we got it, hey, again, bro, I could sell you beachfront property right now in Las Vegas. That's just what it is. Because if we had it, we would have had the infrastructure long time ago, like a real long time ago. Of course, we do some offshore drilling here in the States. Of course. We all know Biden opened up privatized drilling of the most of any U.S. president. We know this already. It's not enough. Not saying that we don't have enough underneath our feet. I believe we do. But ask yourself a serious question. Would you rather start tapping into that resource knowing that it's going to be problematic here at home, or do it somewhere else? And you got to ask yourself that question. I've been saying since the 2024 campaign, it was all bullshit. Nobody wanted to listen to me. I've been talking about big oil and how Trump wasn't never going to let that go in terms of a pay line. I've been knowing this. You had people still fighting it when, even before Trump got elected, he had a meeting with the biggest executives in big oil that gave him millions upon millions of dollars in contributions, with the promise of he was going to expand drilling operations in Venezuela. A lot of people forget that aspect of the campaign. I'm like, hold on, wait a minute, Negro. He's talking about drilling. We got liquid gold underneath our feet, yet he's already promised big oil that this Venezuela thing was foretold long before Trump even got elected the second term. Y'all do know that, right? The cherry on top ultimately was supposed to be Iran. How did that work out? How did it work out? So at some point in time, we just got to cut the bullshit, man, and see it for what it is. Like I said, put your feet in the shoes of a Republican congressman in the here and now. Just do that. Show some empathy. Try to understand what they feel right now. It's bad. Now, I don't know what's going to happen between now and whenever they may go ahead with the passing of the bill. I don't know. I'm not saying that I do know. What I am saying is, if y'all kowtow to Trump in this position, you're doing a disservice to the constituencies. Damn, I can't even say the word constituencies in which you reside. And you just putting another tally on one of the reasons why they hate you right now. Just another tally. You assed out, man. Mike Johnson, you assed out. Because your days are numbered anyway, Mike Johnson. You only got a few months left in your speakership anyway. You're going to go out looking like a sucker. A sucker. And I just want people to know that. You paddling upstream, man. With your hands. You ain't even got to paddle at this point. You have no legislation to account for. None. I don't count the big, beautiful bill. Or the Lake and Raleigh. I don't count none of that shit. All that shit is minuscule. It don't matter. It's not impactful to the American people. This bill was. You have nothing. Nothing. Shameful, man. Shameful. Gonna go down as one of the worst. What I think this is the 118th Congress. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm gonna just say it just for terms. The 118th Congress is gonna go down quite possibly as like the most non-impactful Congress in the history of America. Not worth not one damn. And from a legislative standpoint, the buck stops with you, Mike Johnson. You are the lame duck, ultimately, because it's your Congress. You the third in line. And that's just what it is. That's just what it is. I got to be honest. I got to be honest. So I just wanted to come up and talk about that, man, because like I said, it's a shameful display when you make all these preparations with something that actually was going to be impactful for American people. And without any knowledge, not knowing what the hell is going on, it just all get thrown away. It just all get thrown away. And instead of you doing or like doing an emergency meeting with House Republicans to try to sort it out and figure out what the next step is in order to pass the bill, you kowtow. Like I said, I don't know procedurally what Republicans can do at this moment. Because technically it's not a veto. He didn't veto the bill. He just refused to sign it. So I got to get in my bag and do some research to see procedurally what can be done right now. Maybe we'll find out in the coming days, like I said. But you stood up on at that press conference and just looked like a straight punk, talking about how you got to talk to Trump and give him no, he don't need no damn understanding. Y'all got a super majority. Pass the bill. Don't matter if it get vetoed or whatever. It don't matter. Trump is out the question at that point. He's out. So I just wanted to come up and say that, man. Again, everybody be on the lookout tomorrow. TFP episode 13. The Arena Abroad will be the episode. We'll be talking international politics tomorrow. International politics. That's something that we usually don't do on TFP. But it's been just so much international stuff going on. I think we need to dedicate an episode for it. And yes, I'm naming the show The Arena Abroad. That particular episode. But now we're getting all this Russian domestic stuff coming in. So, I may share a segment with and like I said, Vancat need to give me an explanation. Like I said, I'm not looking for nothing like set in stone or nothing with Vancat position. I'm not. But yeah, I mean, are we seeing a shift? I'm saying no. I'm saying no when it comes to just the overall outlook of the Democratic Party. But definitely in some states, there is a shift. Will it be enough to be impactful in the Democratic Party? I don't believe so. I don't believe so. That's just me. Nonetheless, it is a shift happening, and we need to discuss it. We need to discuss it. So with that being said, man, hey, y'all enjoy the rest of y'all day. Yeah, I know everybody getting off work or whatnot. I got a couple hours to go before I stop for the day. I'm actually making pretty good time today. Y'all go eat your dinner, man, and go throw your kids in the air and hug your wife, man. And with that being said, hey, I'll see y'all tomorrow, 8:30 Eastern Standard Time, TFP episode 13, The Arena Abroad, man. Peace.